Right, and we're live. Good
Does that mean
afternoon,
we're live?
everyone, or good
Nice.
morning, wherever you're hailing from. Dan here with Chief Experts, on with Renee, Robin, and John, and maybe
Everybody.
Kevin at some point. How you doing, guys?
Hi,
Doing
guys.
good.
Merry Christmas, you guys.
We were
already
just
for the
discussing
season?
that if you skip your heating bill for, a month and a half, you could go buy a fur coat and wear that instead.
You must have some pretty big heating bills.
Those
Anyway,
polyesters are really expensive.
yeah. All right, we got
Hi, guys. Hi.
Paul
Hi.
on and Bill. Hi, Paul, Bill. Merry Christmas. We got Valley guy from Nova Scotia, Canada. Welcome to the
Wow.
show. And Bill Murray.
Oh,
has a
what did
question.
Bill? What was Bill's comment?
No, we'll get to that in just a second
Okay.
here. So we'll get going here in just a little bit. Give people a chance to log in. It's just a little afternoon. So you guys are ready for the big holiday?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They keep it
It'll be
really
different for us this year. Different for us because the first time we're spending it down south.
Away from
That'll be
all your
fun.
kids?
No snow. I
Wow.
saw our one daughter did pictures of snow the other day, and I told Patty, I've had my fill of snow. I saw pictures.
Well, we had
funny.
4 inches yesterday, John, so you're not
Yeah.
missing anything. You're supposed to get like 6 or more up in your end of the world.
Wow.
What I
So-
saw was 4 inches in the cities there.
Cool.
Well, well, it's not true. We got snow a few years ago, which was actually pretty cool on Christmas. And we had a decent amount. We actually had 7 inches, which is rare for Portland. Now it is. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it just rains. You come here, it's raining. It's actually, I went outside today without a coat on.
So,
We had
Mark,
2 days
you could get together with Renee and exchange fur coats there. Mark lives in
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my
That's
own
just fun.
polyester. Although that
Yeah.
does not look like
Maybe Mark.
polyester. Renee's looks like a real dead animal.
All right. Okay, guys. So today we're going to chat a little bit about schedules. We have a question about default sets, which Renee and I have different ideas on how they work. And I'm excited to see what Renee has to say because I've never really understood his way of doing it. And we're going to, if you guys have questions, by all means, feel free to chime in with your questions at any time. So I know you guys had talked about schedules a little bit last week, and I'm guilty. I did not go back and look at what you guys talked about because I wasn't here. So it was my understanding that you did get not off topic, but you went on to some other topics and talked about those a little bit more than you did about schedules. So that's
Well,
why
the macros, we got into talking about macros
okay.
and schedules, which
Okay.
is helpful.
Cool.
Right?
It is. So then that's why I thought it'd be nice to circle back around and let's talk about schedules a little bit more. So I'm the simple guy. I don't get into a lot of macros and things like that. So I keep things fairly simple in my process. Renee, I know you're heavy into macros and you found lots of different ways to do lots of different things. So come on, we need to come together in the middle there and make it work for everybody. But in the meantime, you guys feel free to head over to chiefexperts.com after the show and check out a couple of things, actually. Let me share my screen here real quick. And I just want to do this entire screen and share. I just wanted to point out over at chiefexperts.com, if I could spell, that would be great. I still can't spell. Let me do this again. I try to go too fast sometimes. Check us out for our summit here. Again, we still have space available. We talked a little bit about this. I talked earlier in the week on a show with Kevin where we talked about 10 mistakes chief users make, and we talked a little bit more about the summit. And please check it out. Give us a call if you have questions. We'd love to have you there. But the other thing I want to talk about too is be sure to get on the wait list because next month we'll be going live with the new Pro Academy. If you guys are a member of the Pro Academy already, you'll be good to go. You don't have to do anything, but if you're interested in finding out about more, join the wait list. Just click that little link there, put your name and email, and it will keep you informed about everything that's coming up with the Pro Academy. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in there, so it's pretty excited about it. I've had that up there for a long time, and we're going to relaunch it with a whole new aura, whole new way of doing things. So it'll be a lot of fun. lot of live activity will be going on there. So with that in mind, let's move forward here. So Renee, you were gonna answer Bill's question right away. How do you save changes to your default set to
Yeah.
reflect the
So
correct name?
Bill's question, would you show how to save changes to your default set to reflect the correct name instead of the name active defaults? And so what we're talking about here is, if you're a longtime Chief user, we used to have what are called annotation sets. And annotation sets are what drove whatever active tool that you wanted. So let me just take a look at my active defaults right now. Is that I was using a particular dimension default, as well as rich text, callouts, even the current CAD layer. This was all coming from what used to be called annotation sets, now called default sets. So for a particular view, we knew that so long as 1/4" scale text defaults were in the active set, that when I went to go type with the text tool, it was using those defaults, which includes what layer that text might be on. And this is a really important kind of thing to understand, is that when we want to illustrate, our main plan view, we want text to be on for that view. Well, if we want to illustrate a framing view, we don't want that text to be on the framing view. So we're kind of organizing this by layers, right? So if I'm switching to my framing default set, then all of a sudden this text might be living on a text framing layer, so that we're not seeing, multiple groups of text on one saved plan view. Now, when I want to say X13, X12 came out, I think X12 probably came out with saved plan views.
Yeah, something like that.
Saved plan views now, we've got kind of a duplicate thing happening here in selected defaults. You can see it's this same exact panel as what was happening in the default set,
Right.
which means that you can determine what is active the same way we used to in default sets or annotation sets in the saved plan view itself, so that when we switch a saved plan view, it's switching what defaults we're using. On top of that, the nice thing about saved plan views was we're able to save whether or not we're showing certain wall outlines on a particular view, or determining whether or not we want to always save or prompt to save if we've made some kind of change by accident. And we can even be referencing certain floors, or lock in a floor, or remember a zoom or rotation. So these are all a bunch of extras on top of what default sets used to do.
Any of that stuff? I always
What's
leave
that?
mine. I always leave mine set to show off floors, and I don't zoom in anything. Do you use any of that stuff?
I used to use remember zoom for my kitchen view, so that it was just automatically zoomed on my kitchen. I don't do that anymore. I for most of my saved plan views will use any floor, because when we send it to layout, if we're in layout and we copy a view forward, we don't need to relink to a new view if use any floor is there, if I wanted floor 1 and floor 2 of
I've
floor
had clients that have tried to create saved plan views for architectural floor 0, floor 1, floor 2. So they would have all these extra.
So they have all these
views.
extra things for every
Oh
floor.
my God, it was just a nightmare.
Right.
So yeah.
So here I go. I've got a single floor building here, but let me go ahead and create a new floor. So now I have a 2-floor building. Okay. And because that saved plan view, which was called, floor plan view, is set to use any floor, I could just come in here and right here, just scroll down one, and there we go. I've now changed it to the second floor as a reference.
We don't have to mess with all of that stuff.
Right. So we don't have duplicate saved plan views, duplicate default sets, all that kind of stuff. So that's really helpful. If you were to go into your active defaults, or you could actually do this in another way that would be a lot easier to work with, but You could delete all your default sets except for one and switch over to using saved plan views to set up your defaults. And so that would be a way of doing things where I could use default sets now to do something else. For example, I can switch. Let's just say I'm in a print plan view that I've got here, floor plan, and on the fly, I want to drop in some notes on a layer that's not shown. I could just switch to my red lines default set, and now when I use text, I'm dropping in some kind of note. It's going to ask me, do I want to turn on that layer? I just say no, and that's just a note for me for later. So when I switch to my red line save plan view, there it is. And so I had dropped in a note on the fly because I used default set to switch what the active default was on the fly. And it's not affecting my print plan views. So I didn't change anything there.
Cool.
Regarding his question about making it so that it's active defaults versus whatever default set you wanted to have, that just means that, Bill, you changed something that doesn't align with active defaults. So you might have changed what dimension that you're using. You might have changed what active text you were using. And you might have done that from the saved plan view, because you can do that. So I'll just give you an example. I'm in my redline saved plan view. It is using my redline default set, okay? If I were to go in and edit the active view, and then I did something like changed something here, let's just say 1-inch scale rich text default, I want you to notice what happens up here. If I'm thinking about this right, this should change to active defaults. See? So I changed something in the plan view so it's no longer aligned. The defaults in the plan view will always override the defaults in the default set. All right. So because I changed something in the plan view, now it's not matching the default set. So it's just saying, hey, we're using whatever active defaults you've now made a change to in your saved plan view, in your editing the active view.
So let me just talk about that for a second. Bill might be using my template, maybe not. I don't know.
You want to bring your screen up?
Yeah, I'll bring it up here. And where'd it go? Add to stage. There it is. And let me switch to Chief. So, Bill, if you're using the template that I produced,
we're seeing your StreamYard. There you go. Cool.
You seeing my Chief now?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I created, again, I started with this stuff way back, X1, I think, where we started getting the annotation sets, it was called. We didn't have plan views. All right. So we had to use our annotation sets to switch to the, so if I switched to my electrical, my layers switches. When I switched to my framing, that switches. So we used to use those, and I've just gotten so used to use them, I just kept them in here. I'll explore Renee's using the plan view for that. I just have never got to that because this works so dang well. So if you get into the situation where you've switched to something and this is switched to, let's see, what would I do to make that switch?
Change your layer set.
Yeah, change my layer set. Okay, so if you've done that and it changes, it says use active defaults. Okay, so now I've got that in there because this doesn't match that. All right, what you do is get this set back to, a lot of times if you just switch, get it so they're all matching. Okay, so all three of them should say the same thing. And then make sure you hit this little icon right here, the save button. And that will save the settings so that next time you switch back to the 1/4 inch, it'll be all the same. So if that was what your question was to, that just kind of keep that in mind. So, but I totally get that the defaults here are the same as the defaults up here. Okay. So that's kind of how I populate my plan views, is using the default sets that I've created up here. So I've had it set up for years now where it's just whenever I change this to something, all of these change to match. So when they all match, I know they're good. So,
So change
and if
your
yeah,
change
go
your
ahead.
layer set one more time, Dan.
The layer set.
Yeah, change the layer set.
Yep.
Now,
Which I
if you
do a
go back,
lot.
yeah.
I
Now, if you go
use-
back to save plan view and select that save plan view again, click on the down arrow for the save plan views.
Mhm.
If you haven't
Yeah,
saved your changes, you can just go back and click on that again, and it will set it back to
It'll
where it's
switch it. Yeah. A lot of times it's like I want to find something in my plan. I don't remember what layer I put it on. So I'll just switch to all layers on, and then I'll find that item in my plan and go, oh, okay, it's that layer. So I use all layers on and off all the time. And then again, to switch back to where I was, I just reset the plan view, and it all sets back. So that works really well. So I hope that helps, Bill.
So
All
he
right.
says the save plan view is turned off. So is that part of the extended toolbar where that when all that
Save.
comes up?
That's part of the plan view. When
No,
we
his save
edit the
plan
plan
view is
view,
off.
you've got an option here to save, or prompt to save, always save, or never save. I've got mine to never save.
Bill, could you tell us what you mean by
Oh.
saying that it's the saved plan view is off?
I think what he's saying is it's not on
seeing
this
the
toolbar.
menu.
Not seeing the menu, or maybe it's set to none.
Your toolbar, maybe your toolbar's got messed up, and are you missing the drop down? I guess we just need a little more information here. So, all right, that's what I was asked. But the save plan view is off. The save plan view is off. Button is off. What button's off? Oops. All right.
Button is off. Oh, to save it.
So you've got these three buttons. I've talked about this a number of times on our show. And these are amazing what you could do with these three buttons in any view that you're working on. So if you're in a camera view, you can make a copy. You can make a copy of the camera, or you can save the camera view, name it. If you make changes to it, you hit the save button. If you want to make a copy of it, so you can, have cameras view number 2. We use that. Same with plan views. So if you have a plan view that you want to modify just a little bit, you could do that. So, I created a plan view to create dotted lines, and that's part of my actual template. If you make a change to something, if you go in here and you make a change to it, or you're going to create a new one. I was making a copy.
So here's what. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Bill, if your button to save is off and it says using active defaults, at some point you saved something that was different than what was in the original template. You could import default settings from Dan's template again and only check saved plan views. Or rather, I think you get to just import save plan views from the file menu. Is that correct?
Or just Bill, give me a call and we'll fix it.
Import saved plan views from the file menu. So file, import saved plan views, target Dan's template, and it will reset all those saved plan views if you've never modified them before.
If you've never modified them, that's the key.
Yeah.
So that it does work. So I do that once in a while when I created a plan view somewhere else and I want to bring it in to a plan that I'm working on. I could do that. But anyway, Bill, if you can't figure it out, give me a call. I'm happy to walk you through it real quick.
I'm really interested in the way Renee did those default sets because they showed something at Chief. Well, I'm really interested in the way you did that because when we were at Idaho, when we were in Idaho, they showed a way to save, to work with like a different annotation set, dimension set on a drawing. So you had on an elevation, on a kitchen elevation, you could do some vertical detail elevations at a smaller text size.
Yeah, you could change your scale, but Dan does that as well.
I do that with some layer sets that I've created and some of the different views that I've created, and it works pretty well. Renee, we'll put our heads together. We'll come to a good medium here, and I'd love to talk to you more about this so we can share more information with everybody. But let's move on.
You said it was your show and we're doing it your way, and that's it.
Well, during this show,
I
that
hate
doesn't
you,
mean
Dan.
in real life. That doesn't mean we have to do that in real life. So,
All right,
but
that
I
was a
do want to.
really-
I do want to explore your template more. I mean, it's just like one of those things that I've got my template. I've used it for years and years. It works great. You have yours, which is much more advanced than what I do. And I just want to. I really want to learn more about what you're doing. So
that was a really good segue to that. I have a Christmas sale going on right now.
you
And-
do. Oh my
and,
goodness, Renee! Why don't you tell us
so
about
that's
your Christmas
there
sale?
for until Christmas. And then on top of that, if you're here watching this show right now, today only, the first 5 people to go buy something using this discount code, it's
Aww.
another 15% off.
Oh, thanks, Renee. That's sweet.
So you go to my website, rabbitdesign.net. You want to buy something there. It's locked in. The first 5 people that use this code are going to get another
So we go to the
15%.
chief architect shop.
Yeah.
And
I love
Nice,
Dan
Dan.
Baumann. Spell it right with 2 N's.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you, Renee.
Robin, you
that's
got to
sweet.
cue your screen. Aren't you going to do schedules?
Yeah, I wanted to. Well, I want to show something, and then Renee, I wanted you to kind of.
But let me start with the schedules today,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
we'll segue into you guys because you're
Okay.
going to go probably more advanced than I'm going to talk about. So I want to talk about some real basic things. But you guys check out Renee's website. He's got some great things there. In fact, you probably get your best price on your whole package, Renee. Right? Where's that?
Yeah.
Where's your whole package? Oh, the first
The
one.
complete package is not on sale, but you can get that 15% off on it. So that'd be a
There
good
you
one.
go. Nice. Cool. We got X16.
You're not showing your screen down. There you go.
Well, there we go. Show my screen. There we go. I'm on Renee's site right now. So check it out, you guys. I love Dan Baumann. That's the code. I should go buy something. That's really sweet. Okay, back to Chief. All right, so schedules. You guys use schedules. So I've got my template right now, and I'm about to make some changes to it. Where I've got the put a window in, and I've got the windows the window size and the type of window and a call out. And I don't know why I set this up like this at one time, but I've changed since. And I do a really simple methodology when I do schedules. Again, most of my clients like really basic stuff, so I try to keep it that way. So your schedules are going to be part of this drop down here, and I'm going to create a window schedule. Now, if I add a window schedule now, I'm going to get double callouts. Well, I don't want that. That means I already have a schedule in my plan somewhere, of which I do. I have one in my CAD detail library. So in part of my template, I have a.
Will you show how to find out that when you've got 2 schedules? How could you find where the second schedule is?
I don't know. How do you do that?
I
know how to
I
do
can
that?
think of two ways that I think are efficient. Will you drop a schedule in there again?
Yeah, so I've got another schedule.
In X16, click on any window.
Yeah.
And at the bottom of the screen, yep,
So
that one right there.
Schedule
Zoom
from
in on that.
object. So that's this icon down here. Find schedule from object. Okay.
Yeah.
And so there they are. Okay.
Oh.
Nice.
That's a really easy way of finding it.
Huh, I've never used that before. Cool. Nice to know.
Otherwise, if someone's more used to, will you drop it in again? If someone's used to the project browser, will you open the project browser?
You bet. Which I use all the time. That is another way to
People
find
are
it.
really proficient with the project browser. There you go. You're in the schedules folder, and it's showing 2 window
right
schedules.
There. So there they are.
Yeah.
So if you're not using the project browser, start using it. It's really nice. And I've showed, again, even if all you use it for our cameras, it's so nice to be able to create cameras and then just do all your shots all at once and then start applying them to your layout page. There's some pretty cool things going on there. All right, so let's talk about this. I like using schedules. I like using callouts where I have the callout number, dash, and then the window size. It's just kind of, a lot of the contractors I work with like that method. So what we're going to do.
Cumbersome.
Hmm?
It's less cumbersome
It's
when
much
you use
less
that.
cumbersome. So let me
It's
just cover
cleaner
a
in
few
the
things real
hands.
quick here. So let's go to the schedule. So I will open my schedule here on my template. By the way, we can now save schedules in the libraries, and we can also save as many schedules as we want as part of our template. Let me grab this and tile the display. And here's my schedule with all the different windows in my plan. I just kind of popped this together and made windows a whole bunch of different sizes. So I've got it set up with showing the window elevation, call out number, and the label number. I want these two things to show up on my floor plan. Okay. Right now they do, like, I got the big call out there, but here's what we need to do with the windows. So I'm going to group select all the windows. I'm going to highlight the window icon, do a group select of all the windows by holding my shift key down, open that dialog. In the label, I'm just going to hit include schedule number. I'm not going to do any macros, nothing else. I'm going to just turn that setting on and click OK. Now you'll see that you got the call out and the window. Now, the other thing about that, when you're in that dialog, also make sure you set up your offsets. I have my offset at -10. So the text is 10 inches away from the window. Okay, so you can adjust that. So if you want it a little further from the window, a little closer to the window, you can change that setting. But I don't want the call outs anymore. So here I'm going to go to my actual schedule, open its dialog, and under labels, I'm going to hit use label only. Don't use the call out. Right? And then click OK. Now I've got a nice clean label. W04, here's W04, here's the window size. You see it is, I don't even need the call out column anymore because the label now includes the call out number. So that works really well. So now the other thing you could do with these things at any time, I just was going over this morning with a client, and he was saying, he had a whole bunch of different windows. He likes the windows to be called out individually. He doesn't want to group them. So there's a couple of options there. One is to go to your schedule, and under general or column rows, you could say group similar objects. Now, if some of the windows are the same size, you'll get the same call out, and it'll tell you how many of those that you have. So window 02, and it's like, oh, where are window 02s in my plan? Well, I'm going to click on that item in the column, and I'm going to go over here to the bottom and find that object in my plan. Okay, so I can do that from here. There's those two windows. So you could click on any column, find in your plan. This is really nice. The other thing you could do is go here. What was that? And you can find the schedule that's in. Actually, I want to go here. I don't have to go click on the window. Say I want to change something about these two windows. So now I'm going to go over to this icon. Instead of open the dialog, I'm going to open the window. I'm going to open the dialog for those items from the schedule. So I could click there. Now I could modify those windows. Who's making all that noise? Is that Robin?
Yeah, my kid going outside.
Okay. Sorry. And now I can modify those windows and it'll change them. The other thing that you might want to do is to rearrange the order of the windows on the schedule. So there's a way to do that by opening the schedule, and you could say automatically sort by what? Label or descending? Label, height, room name. Let's sort by room name for a second. So now it's going to change the label numbers. It's going to change the way everything's sorted on here by room name. So label number, let's go back to the individual labels for a second. We're not grouping them because you've got a whole bunch of things now. So now I've got window 1, 2. Okay, but now I kind of want to label. I want to get these so they're just all in order around my plan. So that's where I might sort them by label and click OK. Now we got 10. Let's see, does that work? How does that work? Actually, I've never done that, actually. So we've got 2. Oh, they're not in order. Okay. So, all right, I want them in order on my plan. So I might, do you guys know how to do that? So I could have 1, 2, 3, 4.
You'd have to drag them in the
Yeah.
schedule.
So that's where I'm going to go. So I'm going to find window 10, and I'm going to drag that up to the first spot. I'm going to find,
Yeah.
turns off auto sorting. That's fine. So now I'm going to, window 9 is going to be, this is where it's nice to have your screen tiled like this. Window
You know
10,
what? Actually, the easier way to do that is if you would have had them, you could have organized them by room. And can't you just click on the room? And
I did that. Yeah, it doesn't sort them in order. It
It's
sorts
not
them
gonna
by
do it
room.
any kind of
No.
clockwise.
Yeah, I think it sorts them. I don't know if it sorts them by room alphabetically. I'm not sure how it. I'm not sure how it sorts them by room. So
can I show you a trick?
It doesn't take that long to do. Yeah, go ahead.
Will you open the schedule and sort by room name again?
Absolutely. Sort by room name. Okay.
And press OK. Notice that bedroom 2 is kind of organized in a way that's the width dimensions are going from highest to lowest.
Okay.
In the schedule.
Yeah.
See the width dimensions? We start with 45, 22. Go ahead and open it again. Sort by width.
Sort by width.
Yep. Okay, so that's sorted by width. Notice that sort by room still is grouped. The rooms are still grouped.
Why is that?
So if you went back now and sorted by room again, then it would still keep, it would still retain the sort by width, but it would be by room.
Is it remembering the last thing you did?
It's just that it sorted it, right? And then and now all it's doing is changing the parameter first, sorting by width. Now it was descending, but there you go. It is sorted by width, and then room is priority. So like if you were really particular and you wanted to fix those couple little things, that's something you could do.
So Dan,
and then I want to show you an error that comes up with people, which is, will you open the schedule and flip the rows and columns, swap rows columns, which is right underneath automatically sort by.
What does that do?
Press OK.
Got it.
And so now we've flipped them. Basically, it's inverted.
Right. So you're going down, you're reading down instead of reading across.
And so a problem people have with this is in this view, and this is still an active glitch, is if you're trying to manually sort some of these items, sometimes it won't work. And the fix is you have to swap rows, columns back, do your manual sorting, and then swap it again, and you'll have manually sorted.
How do I make this top column smaller?
You have to take your bigger ones and shrink them
at
down.
the top.
Huh?
The diamond at the top there. Those.
I want to make the height smaller.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Well, in your edit toolbar, reset the sizes. So at the bottom of the screen, in your edit toolbar.
Which one is that?
About the 6th one to the left, I think. 7th one. Keep going.
Here.
Keep going.
Reset column width.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's making them all smaller, but I can't change.
And this is just a plan view scale, so you'd have to move those diamonds to change the plan scale, or go set that option in the schedule about the plan view scale.
But how do I change the height of this one column?
You'd have to narrow all the window columns. The windows are what is changing that, or you'd have to change the scale. So if you open it up right now, open the schedule up, and go to scale images at the bottom of the screen there.
Okay.
And just press OK. No, you don't use plan view scale. There you go. Now, if you shrink one of those columns with the one of the ones that is a window, so go farther to the right. You'd have to shrink all of those columns until the point where
I want to shrink the freaking height.
I know, you have to shrink all of them. You have to shrink all of them, and that will change the height. It's being dictated by your tallest window right now.
Huh?
So if you zoom out of this a little bit so we can see the whole thing, every one of those windows is that height. You'd have to shrink every one of those columns in order to get it to shrink that row.
Wow.
I don't get it. Why don't they give me an option to shrink it up and down? Yeah, go ahead and bring your screen up.
Let's see.
So Renee, when you're
Yeah.
doing a cabinet schedule, is there a way to organize them easier to do base cabinets? Because the way you should be doing your cabinets should be base, walls, talls, fillers in the same order, right? Base, walls, talls, and then
Wait,
your
hold on.
moldings.
Can you pin that thought? Because I'm going to lose track of what
Yeah.
I'm showing.
Okay.
So Dan, I only have one window, so this is really easy for me. I'm just going to take this one column and shrink it down, and that shrinks my overall row height up until the point where it can't shrink anymore.
But
And
it's
that's
still too
because
big.
of the width of it. So if I open this up and
So,
scale
so
images,
the height does not work at all like
no,
when we have
not in
when we
this
have the
view.
schedule the other way. When we have
Yeah.
the schedule so that it's what was that again? That was swap rows. So this way I can grab, I can. Someone's coming.
And I shrink, the spacing
Oh,
around
yeah,
the
this way,
window.
yeah. So that way I can. Sorry, my dog is going nuts in the background here.
But yeah, I can
So we
only
can't
shrink it
do
to the
that
point
for the
where-
height. We can
Right.
do that here like this, but we can't do it up and down. That's what I
Right,
was
because
wondering.
it has to have some kind of minimum spacing or
I don't
something.
think I've ever done a schedule with the windows at the images at the top.
I prefer it this way because it looks like a lot of the architectural plans that I work with. So
Yeah.
they don't gripe at me.
You prefer them with the images at the top?
Yeah, because a lot of architectural sets I'm seeing right now have that. So if I'm trying to work with an architect and get a similar style, that's what I'm using.
I think it's so interesting how it's so regional. Everybody's design, it's like drawings. I'm noticing a new detail that's happening around here in elevations that I've never seen before. And it's becoming so much more popular, which is driving me crazy. But that's a question I want to ask for you. But in cabinetry, in a cabinet schedule, the way cabinets are supposed to be ordered, it's a really specific way you're supposed to list cabinets. It's like, full height based cabinets, then cabinets with one drawer, then cabinets with, 2 drawers and 3 drawers. And then, any accessories, you go all the way down this list, right? And then you go top base cabinets, walls, talls, then all your fillers in that same order, then your moldings. So is there a way to get the schedule to group them like that? Otherwise, you have to actually literally go through and move them all around.
Where are you saying that that's a standard? I've never seen that as a standard.
Robin, did you have?
Well, just standard when you order cabinets. Well, when you order cabinets, that's what I was just asking. Is when you order cabinets, you order cabinets like that. When you do a cabinet order, that's the way cabinets are supposed to be done. You do
maybe
base
with
cabinets,
one given
walls,
manufacturer. I've gone through at least 5 or 6 different manufacturers, and they don't care about all that.
Well, every cabinet manufacturer I've ever worked with, they've always done it that way. But that's fine.
Because I usually order based on installation. The way I want someone to start is cabinet 1.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're putting together an order and you're sending it to a manufacturer, they want it a certain way because it's the way their system is set up. But that's okay. It's just something that I know that I've experienced, and I'm noticing.
No, you'd have to manually order that. Well, you could do it by type first, so you could group it by type.
Oh, at least you can get that set up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a bad idea.
I'll show that real quick.
Yeah.
So we're just saying that we've got a couple different base cabinets, and we've got wall cabinets, and we got full height cabinets, and we're going to go look at those schedules, and I'm just going to ungroup similar objects. So we see all those. And so there we go. We got our big cabinet schedule. And so I'm going to sort by, well, I need to add type, which, boy, I guess they don't have a type column. All right, let me show you how to do this. Great question.
You would have label.
Yeah, but we don't have type in particular. And so if I were to go check out to see if Chief actually reports type, and I wanted to see if this existed, I'm going to just check this out real quick, is that we do in fact have a type code coming from cabinets. So I could go and take the full height cabinet tool, shift select all my cabinets, open this up. I'm going a little bit fast. Object information panel. We're going to create a new field. That
Call
new
it
field is
type.
going to be type. And then make sure you go target that field because they don't do it automatically once you create a new field. And I am going to literally put in %sign type %sign. Okay. Press OK. Let's get back to the schedule. And in the schedule, I need to now include that new custom field I created, type.
Right.
So add it from the columns to include. Let's just go ahead and move it up to the top there. And then I should be able to say automatically sort by type. Let's just call it ascending. And there we go.
Brilliant.
Cool.
Right.
That's a good one.
Right.
That wasn't actually that hard to figure out. I could probably figure that one out. I like that. Good one, Renee.
All right.
Nice.
Huh.
Nice. Okay. Now I feel
You
like
could
that
probably
was
do
just
that. Yeah, you could do
was-
that with any
Show's
object,
over.
any windows,
Everybody go home.
doors.
I know. Now I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. So
So,
now
Robin, what was it you wanted to talk about?
Well, I
You had
wanted to
some-
show, but I have to figure out. Sorry, you guys. I have to figure out how to get to my screen. How I apologize.
Go to the
you guys. How
bottom
do I
and
get
click
to mine?
on the present button,
Present button.
and then click on the
Oh, I see. It's down there.
click
Got
on
it.
the one
Got
way
it.
on the right side to show your whole screen. Mark, come on, Mark. We don't get thick in the weeds. What are you talking about?
Hey, Dan, that's a perfect advertisement for your Pro Academy.
There you go. Pro
Yeah.
Academy. Come into the
That's
Pro
where we
Academy.
can take time
So,
and
Renee-
get out of the weeds.
Get out of the weeds.
Yeah, that's
We
a
can
good looking
focus.
elevation.
Yeah, it's a pretty basic one. So no laughing at any of the details on it because I didn't really. This is a pretty basic stuff. Anyway, what I'm noticing a lot of designers in Portland are starting to noticing architects and designers is they're starting to label, put tags on every one of their elevations of where all the materials are, which is actually kind of cool. But in the way I've been doing it, I've been using notes and it's very cumbersome. So I've been creating something like this, right? So when I have done it, what I've done is I took a note and I had to go in and I have to add the note, each one individually, right? So if I did that here, then I open it up and I have to put information in it, right? So I have my finishes right here, and then I have to add the information in here. I might call this cabinet, right? So I put a number here, 1, and then I have to say, what the detail is. So this is design element design.
So note schedule in
What's the
chief
C1 part?
is a schedule created
that?
from a bunch of
What's
notes that you had to your plan.
What's
So
the C1?
yeah, so what it is being, so it's referencing here, right? I didn't put it in that schedule. Sorry, didn't get it into the correct schedule.
Here,
So the
can I
C1 would be
back you?
cabinet 1. Yes, please,
Well, what's your
because
question?
it's really
What's your
cumbersome.
question?
So the cumbersome, the idea is what I want to be able to do is put a whole bunch of different kind of finishes in one schedule on this. So for example, F02 is PT, is paint, right? So the coving and the ceiling is a different ceiling color, right? So I have to put a paint color there. That cabinet that has the warning sign on it is a cabinet detail. So I'm putting a special kind of a door style on that's different than everything else in the kitchen. And then the tile section, F01 is the tile, right? So how do I have finishes that I can actually do finishes on an elevation and then create a schedule for it so that way the installer, the contractor can look and say, oh, this tile goes on this elevation, it's installed in this direction, because we do that. Like I might have 5 different kinds of, well, I would never do that, but I might have 3 different tiles on one wall.
Okay.
And then we have different paint colors and we might have a wallpaper on this wall and then the trim is different or something. So how do you create a custom schedule like that? Because I am seeing more and more and more designers who are putting all this information on their elevation. So that way the contractor, when they are putting this together, when the contractor is doing it, they can see, oh, this tile goes on this wall. This wallpaper goes here. This paint color goes on this. This cabinet door style is here. Because, you know, we're using like 2 or 3 different kinds of cabinet door styles, 2 different finishes on a cabinet. So how do we do that?
Okay. Let me.
So I'll stop sharing so you can show your magic.
I'm actually on. I'm going to try just figuring.
Because the way I've been doing it, it's really cumbersome, and it's almost it's so cumbersome that it's irritating to me to almost to where I just type it out, you know.
Yeah.
So I just start doing the, like I've had here, vertical divider, spice pull out, because it's so much easier. But I'm seeing designers wanting that kind of detail.
Okay, so I got a cool little trick here for you. I'm going to show my screen again.
Yep.
I got a backsplash here.
Yes.
Okay. It's got a material. What was one of the codes for one of your materials?
Well, so T for tile.
T for tile? Okay.
Yeah, C for cabinets, PT for paint, you know.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to put T and then and then a little hyphen in my tile's name. Okay. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to save that tile to my library, by the way. Add to library.
Okay.
I always want to use that because now it's got this prefix that I've established. T for tile. All right. I'm going to. I don't have this code right. I'll get it right by the end of this. But basically, I'm given a code where it's just going to, it's going to split that entire name of the material about the hyphen that I put in there and only put the prefix that it had. Okay. So automatically. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a schedule for this, because this can actually be included in a schedule because this is a backsplash. If we open this up, we see include in schedule as backsplashes. Okay. So what you would do is you come in and do a custom schedule. And in that custom schedule, it's going to be.
This is how you avoid the double labeling thing, double call out thing. By doing
so you
schedule.
can have, so what you're saying, you can have different schedules report to different, well, because this would be backsplash, and now I want cabinet finishes to report to that. And I want paint finishes to report to that same schedule.
That's fine. You can include those things as well. You want, say it again, you want.
So it's I want paint and, you know, like wallpaper, paint, cabinet hardware to report to, or accessories, I don't know, all those kind of things to report to.
So a couple different ways. You can make a really complicated schedule where you're including multiple things, or you can set up schedules where they look similar and you stack them up next to each other.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That would be probably a little bit easier to set up, is where you're doing a wall schedule where you're only reporting the wall's interior finish. You're doing a backsplash schedule where you're only reporting that. And so this gets to just, I mean, if you just wanted to do a wall schedule where it's just all your tile, you could do that just by changing this prefix in the schedule number prefix to T and only including backsplashes that were custom backsplashes in the custom category.
Okay, so you know what? That's kind of crazy. It sounds like I want to be able to split that P, the PT and all that. That's what I'd want to split.
There's TL1 and it's custom backsplash, and I could report the material name in the schedule if I wanted to.
And then it would be fine if it reported to, if they reported different schedules, but if we knew that this was PT1 and then there were two, you know.
Why would you want them to report to multiple schedules?
Well, if it's easier, you said you could either make a complicated schedule, not multiple,
gotcha.
different schedules.
So right? This would just be your backsplash schedule, and then I would do a wall schedule. In terms of the numbering, that gets a little bit more complicated. We have to do macros in order to eliminate duplicate numbers. But oftentimes we don't need to show a schedule number, so that doesn't matter. Like, you're doing a wall finish schedule. When are you ever going to show a wall's schedule number? So does it matter that it has duplicate schedule numbers because it's never being shown anywhere? So that would be my case there is, yeah, go ahead and put backsplash on multiple different things and you can establish your own coding for it. You can always create your own code for anything as well and just have that be a label. You're just not going to get that call out symbol in this case.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to play with that, and then I'll play with that idea. So I want to figure out a way to make this.
I'm just going to show a resource that's on my site in case no one's ever seen this. There is, I think it's called Rabbit Design /resources. Yes, gets you to this page. And if you haven't seen this, this is a little segue. This is a big one for me. Let me switch this so we can see this a little bit bigger.
Is there a link on your homepage for that?
There is. There's a link on the homepage. So if you go back to rabbitdesign.net, if you either from the hamburger menu or just move your mouse cursor all the way over to the right here is resources. So if you see that drawer box, that's resources. I'll show this one first because this is just one I think everybody could use. Oh, that's good. And it doesn't come up with anything.
I
was going to talk to you.
Coding. I don't know how people are finding that. Shoot.
Well, just one way to figure it out. Now you need to fix it.
Someone else share their screen real quick. I'm going to fix it.
So how many, I'd be curious to know how many people use schedules for anything other than windows and doors. Do you guys use finished schedules, using framing schedules? What kind of schedules are you guys using? I'd be really interested in that. How about you guys on the call here? What schedules are you putting in plans?
Lot coverage schedules sometimes.
Okay.
Basically anything. Let's see, we do sometimes we'll add a roof plane schedule so the roofers and people gathering materials can know how much square footage of roof there is with the different types of roofing that get used sometimes. Here's somebody that says they're using them for
steel panel.
Clicked it at the same time.
Yep, we're fighting each other here. Steel panel schedule. Bill uses notes mainly.
Okay, I got it. Oh, you guys were watching me that whole time. Oops. You saw how I was editing my site.
So it seems like the people that are on the call right now are mostly building designers, not interior designers. And or architects. We have building designers and architects on board right now.
Yeah,
so, Bill, this is interior design. What I'm talking about is interior design stuff, There's a different world out there.
Yeah. Norman, are you converting your cabinet moldings to polylines when you're using them for moldings? That's an interesting one. All right, I'm going to show this now. So I'm on my resources page now. If you click building code lookup, it's fixed. And I've got two things that are really cool here, and I've done a lot of work on making these as nice as possible, which is that on the right hand side is a AI-based code interpreter that's got an instruction set from me, and so you could say, give me egress requirements above staircase with citation. How about that? And so it's going to go look in a few places and try to figure this out for you. And there we go. And so the other thing that I could do is I could take this resource here, and on the left-hand side is a custom search engine I built, also with its own set of instructions to try to help you out. And so we can search, and now it's just searching in the same side-by-side as the code interpreter. So you can kind of go back and forth with this and hopefully get to some answers really, really quickly. Cool. So check that out. Cool.
So it's a free.
I've used this several times and gotten to a code that I needed really quickly. So it's been a cool one that I've been working on.
Is that something you developed, Renee?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll just take this back and forth until I narrow down, my need here. When you do click on a link, it's going to take you, outside of that window, and it's going to bring you to a new window
Yeah.
So that you can still keep coming back to that page and work progressively, was the thought there. So that's one thing. And then the other thing, which I'm going to show here, let me just get up. Let's see, lost my page. Is I've got a Ruby scripting helper here with some instruction sets. And now, if you've used this before, now what's built in here is after so many instructions, it's going to ask for your email, and it sends me logs, and I will look at the logs over time. And if I see someone's email and I see they're struggling with understanding something, I'll shoot them an email. I don't know if Tim Schrock is around here, but he's been using it a lot. And
Cool.
so, yeah, I had a quick little shout out to him to tell him that he ran into a limitation in Chief.
So people are using schedules for a lot of different things. So that's pretty cool.
Renee
so I'm going to do a little instruction based on what we were just doing. So I want a Ruby script to give me only the text in front of a minus symbol coming from the variable automatic label. Make it a single line code. And so I know a few things that I'm, instructing. It's going to give me some success here. And so it's asking me, is automatic label the actual referenced variable? And it will instruct you on how to find that if you ask it to. So in case you don't have that knowledge, it'll tell you how to. And then there you go. It's telling us how to get this out of that script. And then you should be able to go drop that in. Takes a little bit of knowledge base, but this works pretty well. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Robin?
No, you were pulling down something that showed all the items that was reporting to that one object. When you were saying how did you pull that down?
That's something I gave away for free at some point, and it points to a library object. This comes in my pro plan, by the way. This whole toolbar comes in my pro plan. There's a couple specialty items here, but this is my macro search tool. I don't know where this might be in terms of it being free. You can email me for this. That's fine. By default, it's searching for anything that's a measurement. So because this is placed in the room right now, it's reporting everything that's a measurement from the room. What Chief has a special class called measurement that doesn't exist in Ruby environment anywhere else. It's just unique to Chief. But what I can do in here is come in here and in between the quotes, type in material or floor or height, and it's going to search all those terms in between those commas. So comma separated search terms, and then it gives anything that it finds. So see how this is
a few things going on in the background in this program, huh?
What's that?
A few things going on in the background here, aren't there?
Yeah, you could say so, right? It's like a pretty long list.
Thank goodness Chief insulates us from almost all of that stuff. So
yeah, because it can get overwhelming, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. But
like the window,
interesting.
This is all the reporting values limited to not reporting anything that has to do with the room it's next to. And if you look at this, it's a mile long. That's everything that your window reports to the program. So that's pretty crazy when you think about it.
That is amazing. All of the, we look at this and it's like, oh, that's pretty simple stuff. But in the background here, these programmers are, someone had to put all of those things in there. So
when you're going, well, how come Chief doesn't listen to me and doesn't do my suggestion? Oh, because they have to make all that work with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's like, oh, this should be easy, right?
Something that's good to kind of know when you get into a major project that's got a lot of surfaces. Chief will rebuild anything that is affected by the thing you're modifying in 3D. Okay, so if we're in 3D and I modify a cabinet and that cabinet's butt to a wall, and you have automatic roofs on, and you have automatic build foundation on, when you modify that cabinet, it's going to rebuild the wall, it's going to rebuild the roofs, it's going to rebuild the foundation.
Yeah.
So if you've got a big project, like you're doing a multi-unit thing, turn off, if you built your roofs already and they're set, you built your foundation, you know it's done, turn them off. Turn off the auto rebuild, because then it will rebuild the scene faster.
Yeah, absolutely. I do that all the time. That's under, where's that again? It's under 3D.
Yeah. If you got automatic framing turned on,
Yeah.
you can get some real big slowdown with all that stuff.
Yeah, it's 3D view default. So under the pull down menu, 3D, go to the bottom item and just turn off auto rebuild walls, floors, ceilings, and that'll turn a lot of that off. So if you get a big plan and you're waiting between every time you do something, just turn that off.
Yeah, that's a way to do it. Right. That's a way to do it.
And then
without
you got to
turning on.
remember, though, when you're looking at a 3D view, if something looks weird, you got to remember to rebuild the 3D by hitting F12 or click on the icon to rebuild walls, floors, ceilings. So,
yeah.
Anyway, we're done here. Thank you guys. That was good stuff, Renee.
Hang on though, just before we get off, what did Pino say? I don't know if Pino's a woman or a man, so I apologize. They are redrawing them all. I mean, it seems like there's some support that we could help here.
I'm doing it manually now by drawing small sections of wall. Same attributes. For what exactly? I'm not sure what
I'm not following that.
Yeah, are you making schedules? Is this for schedules, Pino? What are you doing all this for?
Yeah, because we have wall schedules that we could use. The other thing is, I don't know what the fill is about, but we do also have the wall hatching tool.
So
walls, we have a wall schedule. So you'd build a wall schedule and you would show the 3D symbol. And then, Pino, I think I've seen you on Facebook before. Are you using X16 or are you on an older version? That would be important to note. Let's see. And then property lines. Showing property lines would be a polyline schedule, which we got, I think, in X14. Would be an easy way to do that if you wanted to show that.
He's on X16.
Oh, no, on X16, yeah. So we've got polyline schedules that you can create. Some of those things don't have a dedicated schedule in the drop-down menu of tools. So we don't have a dedicated polyline schedule. So you would create a custom schedule. And then once you drop that in and open this up, then you would go ahead and designate in the general panel that you want to include polylines. So that would be a way of doing that. So if I wanted to include polylines, and then I've got, here's my polyline.
They're not going to show up into one schedule, Pino. That was kind of what we were talking about when you're creating so many different ideas. Renee made the comment, if you size them correctly and you kind of put the same information in each object thing, then you can stack them on top of each other to make them look like it's one schedule. But Renee said that if you add different items like that into one schedule, then it's going to be really cumbersome. I mean, it's something you're going to have. It would suggest talking to Renee and having him create something for you.
Kind of convoluted. Yeah. So like this is, even though this looks like maybe one schedule, this is 3 different schedules, and they are reporting different. One's doing a room schedule, one's doing a polyline schedule. So that was a method I was giving you, Robin, where you just make your schedules look very similar and align their rows and columns and everything like that. And now this looks like one big reporting schedule.
Cool. No, and that makes more sense and seems easier to deal with.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I think that's the same thing you'd need to do.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for the day, you guys. Thanks again. Be sure to head over to chiefexpert.com, sign up for the get on
Pro Academy.
The Pro Academy. Check out our summit and go to reneerabbit.net. Rabbit Design, RABBITT design.net. and take advantage of Renee's special that he's got on today with what was that code again?
I love Dan Baumann.
Oh,
With two N's.
Someone
With
used
two
it.
N's at the end.
Someone used it, so cool.
All right, cool.
That means people are watching the show. That's good to know.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Also, John's got a website up now too, and if you need plan help and advice and just you want a cheerful disposition on the other end of the phone, give him a call.
We'll help getting out of the weeds.
Yes. Everyone,
thank you guys.
Have a great
Happy holidays.
Yeah,
we'll see you.
Happy holidays. See you later.
We'll see you next year. See you guys
Next year.
Bye, guys.
All right,
Bye, guys.